Enter the arena uncut. Holly Holm goes insane on a UFC president, Dana White, for not giving her an immediate rematch against Miesha Tate, who defeated her at UFC 196 in the fifth and final round of a very, very closely contested fight. But it was a fight that Holly Holm was winning on the majority of scorecards. In the fifth and final round, Miesha Tate was able to hook in the rear naked choke, and Holly Holm passed out, and Miesha Tate became the new women's bantamweight 135-pound champion, and improving to 18-5. And unfortunately, Holly Holm, who was undefeated, was 10-1, and that was after her devastating second round knockout of Ronda Rousey. On the line, live from South Korea, we have the best MMA analyst on YouTube today, Tommy Razorstein, and we are on Fox Sports, and we're going to get into this article that has come across both of our desks, and so many people have said they wanted us to do a video on this, why Holly Holm is frustrated with Dana White in the UFC. So, Razorstein, we're going to read this article right now, and the fans of Enter the Arena. UFC President Dana White has a history of criticizing fighters for relying on management and representation for contract negotiations. For most fighters, it is smart to have an intermediary do their negotiations for them, not simply because their management may have negotiation skills and business knowledge that they themselves don't possess, but also because conventional wisdom is that it can help be a buffer and prevent creating personal problems between athletes and their bosses when tough questions or issues arise. Unfortunately, fighters using managers who advocate hard for their clients seems to often make White upset. He also has a history of burning bridges during negotiations and having an interpersonal communication style that has prompted some fighters and their camps to choose to negotiate instead with UFC co-owner and CEO Lorenzo Fertitta. After one second here. After her UFC 196 title loss to Miesha Tate earlier this month, White poured salt on the former champion's wounds by criticizing her for her management to insist that she get to defend her title after taking it from Ronda Rousey last November, instead of waiting around for Rowdy one to return immediately after Holm beat Rousey. And while Ronda was suicidal to return, and was suicidal and in no physical condition to be training for another fight, White pushed the horrible idea that Rousey get an immediate rematch. When Holm exercised her rights as new champion to demand a fight instead of waiting around without making money for an undetermined amount of time until Rousey was ready to fight again, her fight with Tate was made after Holm lost. White tried to make it seem like Holm and her management were stupid for taking the fight, even though she likely made big money from the record-breaking pay-per-view while losing in a way that still has fans calling for her to get a rematch with Tate. Tate's manager, Lenny Fresquez, is an old boxing guy who thinks he's smart, and he's not, White said of Holm's representative. For his part, Fresquez said that White's criticism of him was based on personal animosity. Dana hates my guts, and it's personal, he said. While speaking on the MMA Hour, Holm expressed her frustration at White for throwing her and her manager, Lenny Fresquez, under the bus following the UFC 196 defeat. For me, I don't really care what people say about me, Holmes said, but I do care when people are negative about the people around me who I love and who support me. So, yeah, it's frustrating because it was something that I wanted, and it's something that her manager, Fresquez, pushed for afterwards, he said. Holly wants to fight. That wasn't him saying that. That was me. He was speaking on my behalf. So I don't like when people think that he's pushing me to do things against my will. That was my wish and what I wanted. Furthermore, Holmes says she always wanted to stay active after beating Rousey, and it would have made no sense for her to wait for an opponent and a fight that she had no guarantee would happen. I've always said I wanted to fight, and there still has been no for sure time that Ronda's going to be back. So they said that's all this money coming in for that fight. But what if that fight doesn't even happen? She reasonably asked. Then what are you waiting for? Nothing, Holmes said. You only make money off that fight if that fight is actually going to happen. And I don't know what's going to happen. Number one, I don't fight for money. I only fight because I'm passionate about it. And so if we didn't know if she'd be back right away, we thought, well, let's get another fight going. Good on the soft-spoken warrior for standing up for herself when it counts. Holly Holm deserves credit for wanting to be an active champion and for being smart enough to have management that supports her decision to make big money when it is there to be made. Tommy Razorstein, we're going to you immediately. Do you think Holly Holm made the best decision for her to stay active and take another fight, or do you believe she should have took White's advice and waited for the rematch?
She should have definitely waited for the rematch. That was a stupid move on her part. But you know what? She made it, and she thought that she was going to win, too. I mean, she didn't think that she was going to lose. I mean, in hindsight's 2020. So looking back at it, she's like, yeah, you know, what's the big deal? But now it's a big deal because she lost. It wouldn't have been a big deal if she won. So I think she thought that she was going to win. I mean, Miesha Tate got destroyed by Ronda twice. So with that being said, it's, you know, it's difficult to really say like, oh, she could think about that beforehand. No, she thought she was going to win the fight. She thought she was going to win and no problem. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So she didn't think that this was going to be a problem. And she did rely on her managers, and her managers told her, you know, don't worry about this. Ronda is going to destroy this girl twice. You're going to destroy her. You destroyed Ronda. Nope. Didn't work like that.
Things
didn't work like that.
You are absolutely right. The best MMA analyst on YouTube today. Check out Razorstein Live. Listen, Tommy Razorstein, you hit the nail right on the head. That was what Dana was thinking about Holly Holm. He thought that this was going to be a fight that Ronda Rousey was going to be able to win. Nope. What did we have? Second round devastating knockout. She's suicidal. She just now can eat an apple, loose teeth. We don't know what's next for her. We even hear babies. Look, you're right, Razorstein. Who thought Tate was going to win except for me? And it was a close fight. You said it was a fight that was all that played out all the way to the end.
You know what? I was saying that this was going to be a real bad matchup for Holly Holm. I didn't make a prediction, but I was like, you know what? This matchup doesn't work well at all. She's not used to someone who's able to take her down like that. I mean, Ronda has a judo clinch and moves forward, but she hasn't really been in with somebody who's able to take people down. I can't recall if I did go on air and did say and did make a prediction. Hindsight's always 2020 though.
I can recall. You never made a prediction. You did say it was going to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you never made a prediction because I avidly remember that.
Okay, all right. So I didn't make a prediction, but I do remember saying that like the matchup's really not good for Holly Holm.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone who moves forward and rushes in, that matchup works perfect. So when she beat Ronda, it's like, well, yeah, of course. Ronda moves forward and rushes in and doesn't really set up her striking. But we didn't know that at the time, that she was going to do that. My prediction was like Ronda was getting the right help and the right training, and everyone was working on her camp. I mean, why wouldn't you? If you have, access to the best people in the world, and all the best people in the world all want to work with you and train you, shouldn't you be getting, the best help? And she wasn't. So my prediction was that she was getting the best help. I mean, if she's the best and everybody wants to work with her and she's this new face and everyone, saying that she's unstoppable and they want to be with her and they want to, be close to her and work with her, she should get the best help, best training. And she wasn't. Why wasn't she getting the best training? Anyway, that's a side note. Miesha Tate, fought a great fight against Holly Holm, and she won. So Holly Holm is thinking, wow, didn't see that coming. Now I'm kind of pissed that I lost my belt, and she's pointing fingers. She can only point the finger at herself.
You know what, Rich? I'm glad you talked about that because I got to touch on this right now since we got so many viewers. I mean, we're looking at the viewership. The viewership is going through the roof. So many people are subscribing to hear me and you talk. And Holly Holm says, "Well, I only fight for them. I only fight for the fight, and I don't fight to for fame, and I don't fight for money. And what do you fight for? What
What
do
do you
you
fight
fight
for?
for? That's what Conor McGregor is about. That's why he's taking his rematch with Nate Diaz because it's about the money. It's about the fame. Even if he loses, he's cashing it. Look, Holly Holm should have went on all the tours in the world. She could have talked about it for the wrote books. She could have did. She could have even made herself look a little bit nicer because I've been very critical about her appearance. I believe she looks like a man. I don't care who agrees with me or not. She can do a better job on herself, wear better clothes, get a better facelift, maybe breast implants. And she could have talked about it for the next 6, 7 months and waited patiently for Ronda Rousey. Why would I take another fight? I would have talked about it and hyped it up, and the money would have been huge. Now she has lost her power. She's lost the belt because Dana made it very clear, Tommy Razorstein, and that's why we can't go against Dana on this one. He said you better be careful because he wanted that rematch and she went against it. In fact, she had an extension in her contract. She took a very risky fight that probably her old boxing coach believed that she was going to win, and she did not win. Even though she said that she was the primary source of making the decision, we all know that their advice and suggestions is what may have been the pushing, the sticking point. So you know what? She made a tremendous mistake. Dana White is letting her know that she is probably not going to get an immediate rematch. She's going to probably have to fight someone else. And although Miesha Tate is playing like she's going to take another fight, I don't believe Miesha Tate will do that. I think she's just playing the media, talking about Cyborg. She knows the big fight is with Ronda Rousey for the third time.
Definitely. The big fight is with her and Ronda. That will make the money, man. That may be one of the highest grossing fights in the world. That would be wild, dude. That will be wild. People want to see that too. I want to see it. I want to see if Miesha is a new Miesha. Like, remember when Vitor came back and it was a new Vitor,
New
and he got
steroids.
new haircut and new steroids and all sorts of stuff. But it was a new person. So, or like a Robbie Lawler. Remember when Robbie Lawler came back?
Wow.
New Robbie Lawler.
That was a new
So
baller.
I'm wondering if Misha's, developed a good sense of fighter IQ where she's understanding, okay, I'm just not going to rush in. I'm going to wait patiently for Ronda now. If she's going to counter strike, I'm going to counter strike and hit some nice doubles. I'm going to hit some nice singles. And that might really work out well for her. Plus, if there's any time in history where Ronda, could keep losing, it's right now.
I had a dream one time, Razor Stein, and I think it was Miesha Tate. I dreamed that Ronda was fighting her,
You
and
always dream of Miesha Tate, though.
I love her so much. That's why I showcase her on the channel so much. And she did a flying knee, and she knocked Ronda Rousey out with her face flat in the octagon, and it was a competitive fight too. I gotta agree with you, Razor Stein. I mean, if any time in history that someone would come back down 0-2, because Miesha Tate has never beat her. She's beaten Miesha Tate twice, and I think Miesha Tate could possibly pull it off. I'm predicting Rousey at this point, but there's a great chance that Tate could win this fight, and the fans want it badly because every time we do a video on it, the views keep going up higher and higher. What did I wanted to say to you? Ronda Rousey, this is what I want to ask you. It's very apparent. Is it something that is in Ronda's circle that they're blinding her, that she's getting the best training right now? What is pushing her to just keep the same trainer, Edmund, and stay with the same gym. I mean, she has access to the entire world. What is keeping her to do the same thing over and over again and not improve?
I know what you mean. I don't know why she's continued to keep the same people around her that's causing her to fail. I mean, usually you find people who are gonna, have help you have success. Well, it's kind of opposite this. She's this great fighter, and she's surrounding herself with bad people. I hate to say that. She's surrounding herself with people who won't give her the right nutrition for a fight. You know what I mean? If it's if a good diet of learning how to properly box and kickbox and Muay Thai, well, that's just not in her diet. She needs these different things. She just doesn't need judo or just holding mitts while she hits them. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you just don't hold up pads and Ronda runs and hits pads. I really don't know why she hasn't gotten the right training. Her mother has complained about it,
Especially with her
and
own mother.
she's not closing the distance properly. She's not cutting the angles right. She's rushing in. She got countered. She did that against Betch, and I was like, yeah, but Betch is not good of a fighter, and it doesn't really matter because she's not going to do that against Holly Holm because she respects Holly Holm's boxing too much. Her kickboxing is just that good, so it won't happen, and it did. My prediction was wrong. I didn't think that she would do the same thing that she did to Betch because her mother told her, all right, Ronda, don't do that when you fight Holly Holm. And Ronda said, yeah, I won't. They both agreed, and she still did it. I don't know why she has that aggressive instinct to kill and be completely, um, absent-minded of what what could happen to her if she gets rocked. I mean, I don't know if she's ever been rocked before, so it might have been like the first time she's ever been rocked in her life. She did judo, but she wasn't like a boxer before that, or she may have been slammed in judo before, but I don't know how many times she's like been rocked and continued. Now, she did say that she broke her arm or dislocated her shoulder in a judo match in the Olympics, but I watched the video and it didn't look that bad at all. I mean, so I wonder.
A lot of things have come out about Edmund, and they're saying he's a fake coach, and things. And we saw Travis Brown last fight against Matt Mitrione, and Travis Brown did horrible. And even though he won, it was a horrible fight. It didn't look like the Travis Brown from the Greg Jackson camp. I'm questioning on what's going on.
It really didn't. You are right about that. It didn't look like the Travis Brown from Greg Jackson's camp. It really, really didn't. That's a very good point.
Thank you. I'm really questioning what's going on with him. Because some fighters don't like to be told what to do. They don't like to be told what time to come in. They don't like to be told anything. And if they can run the things the way that they want, maybe that's what kind of guy he is. I really don't know. But Ronda Rousey, we're seeing her in interviews, and she's carrying around, and she seems like a broken, suicidal woman, and she's even gaining weight. And it doesn't seem like she's hungry. It doesn't, like you said, this Razor Stein. It doesn't seem like she's training or watching tape or getting with going across seas or going into one of these camps and saying like Rocky 2, Rocky 3. I'm sorry, Rocky 3, and you love Rocky 3, where Rocky is going inside of the gym with Apollo Creed, and he's teaching him how to the movement and the science of boxing. I don't see that happening with Ronda. I see maybe her going right back in doing the same thing. And if that is the case, Razor Stunt, as you said, Miesha Tate, being the Rocky 3, will be able to easily change levels, will be able to use range, will be able to use distance, will be able to use better striking. And that's a Rousey that would be obsolete and would fail in her third matchup and probably be her last fight.
Yep.
I gotta ask you right off the bat, because we don't have too much time. Holly Holm, do you think this is the wrong approach? Do you think she is angering Dana White? He warned her, and now what's happening?
You know what, Don? I think what Ronda said, it's really difficult being a champ. I think she said it in a tone that wasn't right, but there is some truth about that. And Holly messed up as soon as she became champ.
You're saying she's a
So,
hypocrite.
yeah.
And Ronda did
So,
say she
yeah.
was kind of fake. You know what the thing about Holly Holm is?
Yeah, yeah.
I've watched Holly Holm, and see, they ain't gonna talk about this on Fox. They ain't gonna talk about it on ESPN. But Holm is very sarcastic, and she is kind of closed-minded. She's not open. She doesn't seem like an open-minded person that will say, I can see the analytical, practical, logical thing about this. I'm the champ. I said that is her being champion. See, and then she became champion. The first thing she's saying is, "I want to compete. I want to." Well, you want to give up the biggest fight, probably in the history of the UFC? I would have sat on that. I don't care if I don't fight for a year.
I know. I know.
Now she's outside looking in, and Dana is making it clear, I'm not letting you back in.
She doesn't want her back in either. I mean, if you can choose between Holly Holm, Miesha Tate, and Ronda Rousey, I mean, you choose Miesha Tate right now because she's a champ. And second best definitely is Ronda. And third best is, I don't know. But it's not
Wow.
Holly Holm.
You don't even put Holm in the atmosphere.
No, man. Like, you don't. Marketability, it's just not marketable.
She's dull
And
as
that's half the game.
dull as a week old Coca-Cola sitting on your table.
Yep.
For
All right, Dom, I got to get going, man.
Okay, for Tommy Ragenstein, live in South Korea, the Don Juan Banks. Take the time to subscribe. We'll see you again.
All right, peace out.